Hello, hello, hello. You're tuning into another episode of The Wunderkind Show. Today's other topic. Lamar Jackson was the one that recruited Odell Beckham Jr. Hey, yo. So I'm actually going to read this to you, and then I'm actually going to play the audio, right? So Dov Cleveland, right, for Twitter, put out an update saying Odell Beckham joined the Ravens with a clear understanding that Lamar Jackson will be his QB in 2023 per rap sheet. Lamar recruited Odell Beckham Jr. That means Lamar's here next year! Let's go! That's number one. Number two is we're going to go through and actually hear Ian Rappaport talk about this on NFL Network. So, without further ado, I'm going to play it and so we can hear what's going on, and then we'll break it down, okay? Here we go.
Yeah, and Odell and Lamar Jackson were actually hanging out in Miami celebrating this deal, and there's a lot to like here if you're Lamar Jackson. You really have not had, despite the Ravens doing what they could, giving a lot of resources, including a first-round pick, multiple first-round picks for receivers, really haven't had a receiver of this caliber probably since Lamar Jackson's been the quarterback. Mark Andrews, probably as good a receiving tight end as there is, at least if you're not named Travis Kelce, but still, as far as the receiver position, this is what they've been looking for. This is really what Lamar Jackson's been looking for. In his recruitment of Odell Beckham Jr., and the two are friends, by the way, in his recruitment, it's not like Lamar said, all right, I'm about to do a deal, we're good to go, but there was a clear understanding that when they talk about the quarterback that's going to be throwing passes to Odell, that it's probably going to be Lamar. Now, I guess a crazy thing could happen. Some team could sign him to an offer sheet. We've had zero indication that could be the case. All signs point to Odell Beckham Jr. being the Ravens quarterback next year in some form or fashion, either under the tag or a new contract. So that is how Lamar Jackson and Beckham and the organization are proceeding.
You see what I'm saying, guys? You see what I'm saying? So Lamar has been working behind the scenes to better this team, and they're ready to give it to the owner. Ain't that some crazy stuff? Aren't y'all tired of taking credit for stuff y'all don't do? I'm tired of y'all always trying to take credit for Lamar. He's the reason why we're winning. The media was quick to give all the love to who? But I digress. Look, I said this in the previous video, and I mean it. Lamar's angry, right? He's frustrated, but he wants to win. And his best way to win is to get people around him that can alleviate some of the weight off his shoulders. That's fact. That's not conjecture. So now that we're looking at what we have with Odell Beckham, and I think I said this before, right? You have a very, very motivated Lamar, a pissed off Lamar. You have a very, very motivated Bateman, a very pissed off Bateman. You have a very motivated, pissed off J.K. Dobbins. You have a very motivated OBJ. That's a great combo. And if you're looking at it to say, well, okay, what are we going to be looking at if he can't run or gun or be the player that he needs to be? If he could still command at times, think about it, double teams, or he could beat press, that means one-on-one coverage, then he's worth every dollar. It evens out the board. You won't be able to double Bateman and double Mark, say, oh, just leave Odell wide open. No one's going to do that. Because he's earned the respect of the league. Everybody knows he's a game breaker. Hurt or not. Injuries or not. Playing or not. So now we got to look at that and say, okay, what we got to do moving forward? What we got to do is go to the draft and see if we can add some more pieces. There was another report that came out today also that most of the receivers in this draft, these teams are not big on them. They only feel, I believe, that one receiver is actually worth the the first round pick. And I think it's Jackson, or I can't say his name, I forgot his name, but it's Jack something. It's like Jay something. He's a bigger guy. But they're saying that out of everybody right now, he's the only one that they could see everybody saying deserves to be a first-round pick at the wide receiver position. That would mean if these other wide receivers drop, that means the Ravens might be able to get one for cheap. Hopefully, low second, if they get more picks, or third round to get probably the receiver that they want. That would be absolutely amazing. And here's the thing. If we have Bateman, Mark Andrews, OBJ, right? And then you got Gus, then you got a young gun that actually has talent coming up in the ranks. Do you know how many punches to the face that is?
Combo breaker.
You understand? You're going to sleep. Bro, listen, man. It's a numbers game. When you face a quarterback that's like a Lamar Jackson, right? You have to play 11-on-11 football. Football was not made to be played like that. Do you understand? It just was not made to be played like that. It was made that the quarterback could pass or hand it off, right? And then you have an extra defender to even it up to make it a little more difficult on the offense. Those plus numbers that the defense has, Lamar Jackson erases that. That's why so many people that play against him are so scared of him. Now imagine that, right, with an OBJ. Imagine that with a healthy Bateman. Imagine that with a now Mark Andrews that you can't double. Imagine that with a JK who's going to be running against lighter boxes. Imagine that with a now a Lamar. Now that can, when he spreads you out, the defense has to spread, so everyone won't be on the box. So if he don't see his reads, 1, 2, 3, 4 reads that he wants or feels comfortable throwing it, he can go do what he does with those legs. And do you know what he does with those legs? It's purge time. You understand where I'm coming from? Man, I'm so ecstatic at what this could be. Because if all things point, right, is that Lamar will be here next year. Now, if another report comes out and it says, they're trading Lamar, my heart will sink literally into the depths of the abyss. I'll be so pissed off, so done. I'll sit here and probably just moan online in absolute sorrow. I'm talking straight up. Oh. I'll be done. Like straight up, bro. I don't even know how I'd even react to that. But as of right now, I'm liking the reports that are coming out. They're favoring the Lamar Raven reunion. And that's what we want as fans. As much as you could be on the Raven side, as much as you could be on the Lamar side, we know that together they can do something special. And apart, well, they might be okay. And I think Lamar will be okay wherever he goes. You know what I mean? I mean, especially if a team surrounds it with talent. You get where I'm coming from? But my point remains the same, that together they can make magic. Because it's very, very rare that you see an athlete resonate with the city that he plays for. You understand where I'm coming from? You had some players that were amazing, great. Whatever else you could, any other adjectives you can use to describe what they were for that city. But not every one of them resonate. You get where I'm coming from? Some players, they just resonate with the fan base. They resonate with the location. You know what I mean? Lamar's one of those guys. He's one of those guys. And this is why I keep saying that we have to strike while the iron is hot. Lamar's working behind the scenes. He's heavy lifting. He's trying to get people to Baltimore to better his case to win, because over anything else, Lamar wants to win. But let me tell you this right now, and I said this on Sit the Tally call-in show today. And if you don't watch it, make sure you check out Coach Evans. Amazing view, amazing guy, amazing channel, great content. And I said this on there. If Lamar Jackson, with these weapons, goes out there and the Ravens win the title, it's a guarantee that the Ravens are going to pay him whatever he wants. That's number one. Reason why? Because they already set the precedent with Flacco. For all you Flacco lovers, they're going to do it again. And number two, that would mean that more players, because the Ravens just won, and if they win, it's probably going to be, oh my God, they could do it again. You know what I mean? Because Lamar's young, whatever else it is, and they got a good defense. Other players are going to want to come to play, maybe on cheaper deals to try to win a title in 1 or 2 years. That's number two. Number three. This is the kicker for number three. If they win, it changes the narrative. The narrative in Baltimore changes. The narrative around Lamar changes immediately. Because one thing that you have noticed with the NFL, they can argue with MVPs. They can argue with statistics. They can even argue with a slight playoff run. But you know when they lose those arguments? When Super Bowl wins are equated into those equations. And when you look at the turmoil and the loss of respect that the Ravens have garnered this offseason, a lot of it could be renewed, regained, reassessed. You know what I'm saying? If they make a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl. And the same thing could be said for Lamar Jackson. He'll be able to write his check. What would be their excuse? What would you be able to say? Oh, his style of play can't win. You don't know if he can stay healthy. We don't know if you can get to a Super Bowl with him. Oh! Everything would be answered right then and there. And look, I want to point this out. The beginning of this year, Lamar was the runaway MVP for the first 8 weeks of the season. I want everyone to understand that. Everybody knows that. He was the runaway MVP for the first 8 games of this season. If Bateman doesn't get hurt, if OBJ can stay healthy, because that was pretty much the detriment to the team. There was no other receivers. That means he'd win another MVP. I mean, let's be real. Lamar's absolutely box office. The statistics that he puts up are ridiculous. At multiple times, at 1 year, he was on pace for 6,000 yards. This year, before the injury to Bateman, he was on pace for almost 40-something touchdowns with 5,000 passing yards. So I keep trying to tell people, if injuries have been the derailment of this team. They got rid of Steve Saunders. He's gone. They got rid of Greg Roman. He's gone. So now what you have is a healthier team who will be used better in space. And you know what happens in space? You don't get blindside hit a lot. You get where I'm coming from? A lot of times when you work in space, it's you versus your man, and then it's open space. So if you can avoid that tackle, you're off to the races usually. That's what opening up the field does. And because of that, it's more like soft tissue injuries that happen more in those type of run offenses, hamstrings and stuff like that. But injuries, you blew up my knee and all this type of foolishness, or 20 guys landed on me, those are gone for the most part. I'm looking forward to it, man. But more so than ever before, we are looking at a very motivated Lamar to not just win, but go all the way. And if he goes all the way, I swear it's going to be pandemonium, because it's not just Lamar. He would be changing the very landscape of the NFL. The way running quarterbacks are looked at, the way black quarterbacks are looked at, the way mobile quarterbacks are looked at, all of it would come to a head. Players that might not have been able to make it before will be evaluated, reevaluated. And mark my words, and I heard Keyshawn Johnson say this today, for the teams, if Lamar goes out and wins the title this year, for the teams, for the general managers that said, we didn't want it, and for the teams that didn't want to, there's going to be a lot of people that get fired for those decisions. I promise you. Heads are going to roll, because they're going to be like, oh my God, he was worth every dollar. We have way better weapons than that. He could have done way more stuff over here. And you know what's going to happen? Then that's when you're going to see the change in the NFL sweep over the nation. Because everyone's not going to be looking for the next Patrick. They're going to be looking for the next Lamar. And that's another episode of The Wunderkind Show. Yes, sir. You already see what it is. In this episode, we hit him with all those punches to the face.
Combo breaker.
Boom! So, once again, this is The Wunderkind Show. Thank you for watching. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you hear me, and you know I appreciate that. Please do remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. I love talking to you guys down there. Just be respectful to people that have differing opinions, and we have no problems. And if you would like to donate to this channel, at the bottom of the screen is a QR code for a Cash App. Okay, and in the description, you can find that Cash App also, and it's called The Wunderkind Show. And before we go any further, I want to say a very special thank you, right, to Mr. Horace Kaminga. Shout outs to you. He made a $25 or $20 donation to The Wunderkind Show. So thank you, sir. Thank you for investing into this content, this platform, and what we're trying to build over here. And I'll keep trying to give you guys the utmost best content that I can thoroughly give you. But thank you very much from the heart. It really is. I want to say thank you. And I also want to say another thank you to Terry Douglas, who donated $25 on Cash App also. Okay, and I want to make sure that anytime you donate, I will be calling your name up. You will be recognized because I believe that you are making, an investment to this platform, and that means a lot to me. That's trust, okay? And that's where I take it, okay? Also in the description, as I was breaking down before, you can also find the Patreon for The Wunderkind Show. It is available, okay? And if you get the Patreon, you will be having access to the Wunderkind Discord. There will also be sometimes at night, certain days that we do questions from subscribers and private videos for those patrons. So once again, this is The Wunderkind Show. This is your host, Nitro, signing off. And as always, you knows my slogan.
Combo breaker.
Peace. And I am out of here. Yo!